right, I am trying something new today and I am super excited about that. I have two cameras set up, I have my microphone, and I'm just ready to dive into this. Welcome back to my channel, everyone. Brittany here, and I am coming to you 4 years late. A little bit. It's a little late. It's been about 4 years since I was last on YouTube. And back then I was doing a lot of sewing content and a lot of thrifting content. And those things have been really integral to my entire life. But I really needed to take like a step back for a minute. I had some health issues. And so that's why this video is as late as it is. I really just needed to take some time away from sewing, extrapolate it from my business for a few years, and really rediscover the love that I had for it. That also pertained to thrifting. And so a couple years ago, I did 2 episodes of Thrift with me, and one of them absolutely went completely bananas on here, and I am so thankful to everyone who has watched and commented on that video. I tried to reply to each and every single person's comments, and so yeah, this is just my, I guess, follow-up to that video. And so I have some garments and some things behind me that I actually created utilizing those fabrics that were shown in both of those videos. And so I thought that I would just kind of go through and share those with you all today. And so you'll see that behind me, there's not actually that much. And it's not because I haven't actually made a lot of garments with those fabrics. I did. It's just that I don't hold on to a lot of garments that I sew, because if I held on to every single piece of clothing that I made, my closet would have been bursting ages ago, because I've been doing this for almost 20 years now. And so I do try to keep the things that work well in my life and my wardrobe, especially in this season of life. And so I have worn some of these garments in the past and then realized that like my size has changed or my lifestyle has changed in some way. And so a lot of things have been sold or have been passed on to friends. And actually it's wild. So there's like 4 items up here. Actually, everything that I'm going to show today is also for sale. I just recently updated my entire website with all of my handmade items, as well as upcycled and thrifted items and vintage secondhand items and things of that nature. It's just really exciting and interesting to see that like all the garments I actually have left are currently on their way out as well. And then all of the garments that I'm going to share with you that I have sewn are also gone for various reasons. And I will go through each and every one of those as we get into this video. So I'm gonna stop talking about this and just dive into sharing the garments with you right now. I'm so excited. It's also really hot up here and I have to turn the AC off. This is the Frog, which is the finished room above our garage. And it is so hot because it's the summer. So I was running our window unit for a little while, trying to get it nice and cool in here. And we're gonna see how long that lasts. Yeah. Let's dive in. I'm gonna start by sharing the items that I actually physically have in person, and hopefully my head's not getting too cut off. This room is like kind of a triangle. Anyway, so yeah, I thought I'd start by sharing the items that I already have or currently have, and these all, like I said, are for sale right now on my website. I'll link all of that below, but I really love these pieces and I am somewhat sad to see them go. It's just that they don't fit into my lifestyle right now or my current size, and I'm not sure if they ever will. So I figure, why not pass them on to someone who would actually get use out of them and love them. So first up is my tartan wool. This is 100% authentic tartan wool. I was so excited when I found this at the thrift store because it came with the little tag and everything that claimed, like, was sharing how it is authentic tartan wool. And I made this skirt. It's a simple pencil skirt and I just absolutely love the way that it looks. And I added so many fun details to this one, like a sewing is my jam tag, and I wound up doing a really cool 3-inch hem because I figured that for myself or for whoever else might ever owned this skirt, I wanted them to be able to really adjust the height very easily of the skirt itself. And it is an invisible hem, hand sewn. And then I did this really gorgeous pink ribbon that I was gifted by someone who knows that I sew, as well as because I really wanted this to be a very flexible kind of skirt. As far as sizing goes, I also was experimenting with these very big 1-inch side seams, and I did that on both sides. And I was really inspired by vintage garments because in the past, garments were really made for people to be able to grow into and to pass them down. It's not like how we have it today in modern society where everything's made so quickly and so cheaply that you just toss it if it no longer works for you. Clothing in the past was really made to last, and because this is such a special wool, I really wanted to create a garment that could be altered far into the future and wouldn't just be tossed to the side as soon as it didn't fit anymore or wasn't the person's style. And so, yeah, now that it no longer fits me, well, it does fit me, it just doesn't fit my lifestyle anymore. But now that it's no longer fitting my lifestyle, I'm really excited to pass this on to the next person who can then hopefully alter it to fit them exactly the way that they want. I mean, look at that pattern matching, guys. Like, I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I absolutely am obsessed with this pattern matching. This was during the phase in which I was really, really into pattern matching because I'm very good at it. I don't mean to sound like braggy or anything, but I'm so meticulously obsessed with pattern matching that I've gotten very, very good. And that is very evident in these Chandler shorts, which are also from that same tartan wool. I found these two together and I love these shorts so much, but it just doesn't get cold enough here in Georgia to really be able to utilize these shorts more than like a couple times a year. So I think I've literally worn these maybe once or twice, and I need to see them go to somebody who is going to absolutely love these and wear these and cherish these. So this is the fitted back expansion so Chandler pattern is my own pattern, and I did a fitted back expansion where it does not have the elastic waist back. So this is very fitted and it does have belt loops. And this is actually inspired by my personal favorite vintage pant pattern that I no longer have because those pants sadly did start to kind of fall apart. I wore them so often, but I'm so glad that I managed to make a pattern from them and to alter them to what I really love in pants. And it seems like a lot of other people have loved these pants as well. And so, yeah, I'm just really excited about these shorts. I think that they're really cute, especially styled with some like really nice thick tights. And then I've done them with like high knee-high socks and some boots in the winter. And yeah, it's just perfect for that dark academia vibe if you're into it. Now, I don't actually remember if I posted in either of my Thrift With Me videos about this very gorgeous chambray that I got. I think that I did, but I can't remember which one. Anyway, this is the Bluette dress by Deer and Doe Patterns. I had to think for a second because they did get bought out by Closet Core. They got integrated and it is still available on their website, so that's good. And I just loved this dress. I love this style of garment. However, I always forget that I have such a long torso, especially from my high point shoulder to my bust line, and I forgot to account for that in this bust area. And so the sleeves are very tight. They come up way too high on me, but I just love this dress. And it actually was made from a curtain. So it was a cotton chambray style curtain, and it's just so nice and lightweight, but it's also like thick enough that I felt comfortable wearing this in both the spring and summer and the fall and winter. So I did wear it a couple of times before I realized like just how uncomfortable it made me underneath my arms. So this is perfect for someone who has like a less lengthy torso. Again, this isn't a common alteration that I always have to change. I always have to change from here to here. I have to lengthen it, and then I also have to lengthen from here to my waist because all of my length is in my torso. I got short legs and a long torso, which accounts for all of my height. But yeah, I really love this, and it's such a great piece, styled with like a turtleneck, buttoned it all the way up with a little tie is super cute. Unbuttoned a little bit and a little bit more relaxed is also cute. Tights look good in it. I don't know. I'm just really proud of this one. And it comes with this cute little bow on the back, which makes me so happy. Like, I don't know, something about a bow on the back of a garment is so great. Now, this next one, I don't think that it's actually gonna do justice here showing it, but I'm going to anyway. But this is a Friday Pattern Company dress. I cannot currently remember the name of the dress because it's a newer pattern that just came out last year. And for those who don't know, I have worked in the past with Friday Pattern Company as a contract worker. I've done quite a few of Chelsea's illustrations. And I've actually, for the past couple of years, I was sewing samples for her photo shoots. And I was also pattern testing because I love Chelsea. I love everything that Friday Pattern Company stands for. And so this was actually a tester garment. Again, once I figure out the name of it, I will pop it in, but it's very different to what the final pattern looks like. This one she originally had darts in it, and instead she changed it to more of a like gathered kind of situation at the bust, which I think is equally super cute. And then it also had like a much lower V, which is very nice. Again, I really love this garment, but for me, I'm just a little bit too busty for it. So whenever I was wearing it, I felt like my bust was like kind of falling out of it a little bit. But so I think that somebody who has a little bit of a smaller chest would work really, really well with this because it's just, standing still, it looked really good on. I will pop in some pictures, like recent pictures that I've taken of it. And it's just so great. And this was out of that window pane yellow fabric that I definitely remember showing and going like crazy about. I was so excited when I found this fabric, and it's such a great weight. It's so lightweight. It's perfect for our summers here. And I'm just so sad that I can no longer really wear it. So hopefully this finds a really great home in someone who, you know, it fits a little bit like smoother down the front, and because it's just so lightweight, and it's got an organic cotton voile lining, like it's fully lined, and it's just so nice for the summer. Does it look like I'm sweating? Because I am. It's really hot right now. So I definitely talked about this one in quite a few videos. I think that I've done a short on it, and it's one of my favorite pieces. But do you all remember the linen rayon curtain that I found that was like beigey? And actually I have this right here. It was like this kind of material and very like loose and flowy. And so yes, I have made some, what is this called? Yes, I've made some tea towels with it. This one is an embroidered one, and then I've also made a couple of block printed or lino cut print ones. And I love this fabric so much. And this was actually made from all of the remaining offcuts. But I don't know if you remember, I have shown it a couple of times. I made the saguaro set by Friday Pattern Company. That was the first make that I made with my thrifted haul from that second thrifted video. And I was so, like, I even made it prior to putting that video out on YouTube. And I just had so much fun with that one. And I'm so sad because I accidentally shrank the entire garment in the wash. I shrank it not widthwise, so it still fit me like putting it on, but lengthwise, because I'm tall, it made the legs like so like high waters. They were so short on me. So I wound up gifting that one to a friend, and it fit her perfectly. And I was so thankful and so happy. We did like a little clothing swap here a couple years ago, and that was great. And now all I have left are these tea towels, and I do love these tea towels. I think that they're really wonderful, and I've made bookmarks from these as well. So I really did have a chance to like utilize almost every last bit of that fabric, which was fantastic because it was such a great find at the thrift store. Like, I was so stoked finding it. And so these are the last little bits left. These are great. I feel like they're pretty absorbent because they are a linen blend and they're very like nicely weighted, but they also make kind of like, even if I wasn't going to use these to like wash my hands, I feel like they make like, look at how cute that is. Just putting like your silverware on top for a party or something. Should I keep some of these for myself? Yeah, so that's where all of that fabric went. So the last handmade item, you might be looking like, oh, Brittany, you've gone through everything. Those pillows don't count. Those were not thrifted fabrics, but there is something on the ground. The last thing that I'm going to share before like sitting down and going through all of the other garments that I know I've made but have already passed on to their next homes is what I made out of that quilted pillow. Everyone seemed to be really into this quilted pillowcases that I found. I originally thought that they were going to be a quilted blanket, and so because of how it was wrapped and how like the thrift stores here wrap everything, and so I was like a little disappointed when I saw that it was just the pillowcase. But I wound up finding the perfect pattern to utilize this pillowcase for, and we use it every single day. Our cats love it, and I feel like I'm just like creating this big mystery, and you're gonna be like, oh, what is this? So I created the Closet Core Poof Scrap Busting Floor Pillow. So this thing is super heavy, oh my gosh, but it is actually filled. I'm just gonna put my head, feel like I'm posing with like a freshly caught fish or something. This utilized both those pillows, and this pattern is specifically for stuffing with your fabric scraps. That's why it's so heavy, because fabric scraps are so heavy. But I like to find every way that I can to utilize fabric scraps in the studio so that everything becomes zero waste in the end. One of those ways that I do it is like opting for natural fibers that can be composted, especially the itty bitty bits, like just feeding the garden with those. But sometimes, you know, you don't always have the option of having 100% natural fibers, or you have something that you're unsure about the dyes, or you just have like a lot of stuff. And so this pillow comes in handy. I have made at least a dozen of these. I've given them away. I've kept quite a few of them. And this by far is probably our favorite one. It has lasted so long. I made it not too long after actually recording that first video. And it's just so thick because of the quilting. And then all of this, ooh, there we go. All of this is just stuffed with fabric scraps that were too small to do anything with, or too irregularly shaped, or, you know, not 100% natural materials, so they couldn't be broken down. But yeah, we love this. Our cats love it. They love sitting on it each and every day and just taking their naps. And I have slowly been patching it. So I see that there's like a little hole right here from a piece of fabric that I think this was the back of the pillow, and it didn't have quilting on it, so it's a little bit weaker. And so I have been patching it. I think that there's like a patch right here, and I'm just going to continue to patch it from now into eternity because it is just such a great pillow. Ooh, did you hear that? That was loud. I am back. I am feeling much cooler now that I'm downstairs. I decided to relocate because it just was getting way too hot upstairs. Now it's time to go through all of the items that I created using thrifted materials, but they're no longer here with me anymore. Thankfully, I was very good at documenting quite a few of the things. So by the end of this video, any fabrics that I haven't shown, reason for that is either because I haven't yet used those fabrics, or I actually wound up selling those fabrics, passing them on to new homes, because for a time in the past, like 10 to 12 months, I actually was contemplating completely leaving my sewing practice behind, and I got rid of a lot of stuff. I donated a lot of stuff. I passed it on to people that I know who are sewing instructors, and I did a big D stash a couple months ago, and so that might be the reason why. But I'm so glad that at one point in my life I was documenting a lot of things, and so I have a bunch of these things documented. I'm just going to be looking at them on my computer so that I can remember what I'm talking about, like what it is that I've made. These gingham pants I made from a thrifted bed sheet, and I believe that they were like a mix of cotton and polyester, but I just really loved the look of them. I loved the feel of them. They just reminded me kind of like a Parisian picnic, which was really nice. So the reason that I even sewed these pants was because I really wanted to do a tutorial on tapering the Chandler legs specifically, but also just tapering pant legs in general. So if you haven't ever sewn my Chandler pants, they're actually quite wide from the thighs down through to the calves and the ankles. And that's really because there's an elastic back, so there needs to be a lot of ease in that. And the original vintage garment that I based them off of had a lot of ease in the back leg, and I really liked that. As someone who has what some would call thicker calves, it was really great to have that excess so that it never felt like it was too tight on my legs, especially when I was sitting. So I did wind up making quite a few bits of Chandlers, all for the relaunch, and that was when I redid the entire pattern. I redrafted a lot of it. I made sure that everything was kind of like more up to my standards, because like when I first put the Chandlers out, I knew a certain number of things about drafting pant legs. A couple years went by and I realized, oh, I've learned a lot more about pants specifically, and I want to redraft and re-update my patterns to reflect the things that I've learned. And so I just sewed a bunch of Chandler pants and shorts, and I did a floral pair, I did the green pair, I did a purple pair, and all of these were using thrifted materials. I found all of these garments or fabrics at the thrift store and then incorporated them, and they kind of all worked really, really well together, especially considering I was doing the revamp in the spring, I believe. I would have to go look at my website to see when I actually updated the Chandler pants, but it just kind of all worked together for this very outdoor Parisian spring kind of vibe, and all the pastels. I was very into that at the time. So they really all worked really well together. I no longer have any of these pants though. They're all gone. I have sold them all, and I really hope that they're doing well in their respective homes, because they were really great and they were super fun to work through and to like create tutorials based off of, and to just do all of the things that I did at that point of time in my life. And I think that was like probably 3 years ago. Here's the saguaro, which I already talked about and I absolutely just adored. I'm telling you, I'm so sad. I'm like actually so sad that it shrunk. Oh my gosh, the Melisse. So this was a pattern that I did for Talco magazine, and it was not quite a zero waist pattern, but it was as close of an attempt as I could get at the time with my zero waist patterning skills. And I will say I probably am not the best zero waist pattern drafter. There's something about the shapes that really confuses me, and so I have kind of abandoned my hope of ever doing zero waist patterns at a large scale. But I really give kudos to everyone who does zero waist the way that they do, as inclusively in sizing as they do. Yeah, this was just my first attempt, and I just absolutely loved working on this dress. I made so many iterations of this dress before we landed on this one, and this one is utilizing bed sheets as well. If you can tell, I'm really into utilizing bed sheets because you get so much fabric. Like traditional fabric yardage width is not very wide. Like sometimes you can get up to 60 inches wide, and that's really good if you're buying fabric in the traditional sense of like an online retailer or something like that. But when it comes to bed sheets, they do it the width of an actual bed. So if you're looking at a king or a queen size bed, you're getting a huge amount of fabric, and the width is just so nice, especially for something like this where the Melisse skirt is so big. I really love doing kind of like not a circle skirt fully, but like some kind of angle. I wonder if I can draw this in post, but like an angle to the garment so that you have that width and that flow that you can't really get with a box, which a lot of skirts are drafted as like just basic rectangles and squares, which there's nothing wrong with that, but I really like that swishy feeling that you get with the Melisse and the Amelie. And so yeah, this one was a great one. I really loved this. I did not keep this one because I believe that it was also a cotton poly blend, and I just don't wear polyester because I'm a big sweater, and like polyester anything just makes it even worse. So I did pass this one on to someone else along with all the other Melisses, but My gosh, I felt like a fairy princess, like spinning around in our space. Which it's so funny looking at how much this space has changed. It's now our cat room. We have a couch in here, and we really do spend a lot of our time like drinking coffee every morning and playing with our cat. But like I just remember a time when it wasn't like that, when it was just chairs. We only had one cat, and I would physically move all of the furniture out of the room just for photo shoots and for videos. And as beautiful as it is, and looking back, it really is pretty to see these photos, to see the videos that I've done in the past. I just am reminded of how much stress I felt doing all this, how hot this room got at this time of the year. And yeah, now I'm just, as much as I love the photos and videos that I captured, I just don't know if I have it in me to do the same amount of like removing everything and completely upending our lives in our home in order to get beautiful shots like this. Maybe, but right now that's why you see me often in this space or just sitting on the couch doing these videos, because I'm all about bringing the ease back into our lives, bringing that slowness, and not trying like so hard to get the picture perfect, because it's really unrealistic. It's unsustainable. Oh my gosh, I loved this dress. So this was another one of those fabrics that I was just so loud. This was another one of those fabrics that I was so excited to work on or work with. I even remember in the video that I shot where I was talking about this particular bed sheeting. It had a ruffle on the ends of it, and I really wanted to incorporate that ruffle into whatever garment I was making, because I had done so with another garment many years in the past, back when we lived in Athens, and I love that dress too. And I don't actually know what happened to that dress. I think I sold it, and that there are very few garments that I regret passing on, and that is definitely one of them. Now, I loved this particular dress, and I do feel like I got the wear that I needed out of it, that I really loved. And when I passed it on, it really was just me being done with that style. It wasn't fitting into my life anymore. And I really hope that whoever got it appreciates it as much as I appreciated it. But this was so much of a fun one. I love the ruffles so much that I literally put it on the sleeves. And I remember that this was still like in the testing phase of the olive dress. And so I hadn't quite gotten the strap length correct. So I had to adjust the strap length quite a few times. And so I kept pinching it right here at the strap and kind of folding it over on itself. And it just made a really voluminous sleeve. But you know what? I really liked it. It like turned out really nice and awesome. And yeah, I love the flower print too, and it was 100% cotton, so it was so light and breezy. I'm just a very messy person, and when it comes to garments that are creamy and white, I make them very dirty very quickly. And so yeah, that's basically the main reason that I needed to let this one go, because I did not want to ruin its beauty with my messy old self. Oh my gosh, I love this dress too. So this was very much, I always referred to this fabric as like the 80s style print. It's another bed sheet. Do you guys sense a theme here? It was another bed sheet, and I just don't know why it felt very 80s to me. I was experimenting with creating just like a very basic kind of dress style, and I actually really liked this one a lot, but I wound up making it a little bit too small for my bust. So that happens sometimes. I draped it on my mannequin, and I completely forgot, that when I bought my mannequin, I was in college and a very different size. And so over the years, I just need to keep reminding myself like, hey, Brittany, you are not the same size as your mannequin. Do not make a garment that fits your mannequin really well, because it is going to be way too small for you. So this one immediately got passed on to another person who, is likely the right size, and I really hope that they love it. I also think that there are pockets in it, but I don't see my hands in the pockets, which is wild, because usually I like to take a photo of that. And then this one was so cool. So this was a reversible olive dress that I made, and this one was really fun. It's actually surprisingly a very heavy garment because it was fully reversible, and this was like, I don't know if it was bed sheeting or it was more like one of those bed covers, the ones that you put over like a down comforter, I believe. And I just really loved the geometric pattern of it. And I thought that the gray and the white was really cool. And so I made the olive dress, and I wanted to make it reversible because it looked just as good on the inside as on the outside. And that was like that. I remember that proving to be somewhat of a challenge. There is one seam that I can see here that, let's see if I can zoom in on it. Can I? No, I can't. It has a French seam, I believe, from what I can see, and that seam is so thick, but it looks really good so that you can wear it both inside and out. And again, this one I passed on relatively quickly, and I don't regret passing this one on. It didn't feel like it was going to fit into my lifestyle, especially because at this point, I think that I had like 5 olive dresses in my wardrobe that I was wearing on a pretty regular rotation. But this one was a really fun one. I just love the olive dress, especially the low back version, because I don't know about you, but like when I sweat, it's all on my back. And so I need like a nice open back in the summertime. And I know that not everyone can do that, but for those that can, it is a great option for getting the breeze to caress your skin and cool you down just a little bit. Well, thank you all so much for joining me on this little journey down memory lane. And I apologize again that it was 4 years late. I don't plan on this, like if ever I make another Thrift With Me video, which I do have plans to do in the future because it seems like everyone really enjoyed those. So I do have plans to do that into the future. And when I do, I promise I will not make you wait a whole 4 years before you get the outcome of what it is that I was actually creating or actually sewing. Maybe just a couple of months. Yeah, I don't want to say it'll be like a couple of weeks, but maybe a few months at the longest. I will say that if you're interested in seeing what these garments looked like when they were actually in my possession, I mean, I know that I showed the photographs here, but sometimes it's just not the same as seeing it in person or seeing it moving on the body. I do have this other video here. This was my spring 2022 makes. It was everything that I made in the spring, and quite a few of the thrifted items made it into that video because I was sewing up a storm. Like I said, I was redoing the Chandlers. I was doing the olive dress. I don't know if the Melisse dress was in that video, but I was just doing a lot of patterning and a lot of sewing at this time, right before I had to go on hiatus for medical stuff. But if you want to continue the fun times and see those garments, feel free to check that video out. Otherwise, yeah, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you for sitting with me as I was up in the heat and now down in the cool. My husband was actually making fun of my hair earlier because I do look like a little bobblehead. But it's just so hot. I can't keep my hair down right now. I'm in the coolest room in the house right now, and I'm already sweating. I'm gonna go, I guess, dress down into something a little bit cooler. And yeah, I will see you in the next video. Thank you all so much for spending time with me, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.